Angie D. just released her first novel, Some Must Die. Angie has spent years avoiding the story and others that reside within the depth of her mind. Perhaps it was fear that held her back, or the belief that she didn't have enough time or talent to write or even complete a book. Eventually, she realized that a story deserved to be told. She hopes to challenge readers to open their mind, think critically, and embark on a transformative journey. About 3 years ago, she decided to go for it to see what comes out and if it comes out the way she envisioned or something different. She wrote a first chapter, a note on her iPhone, traveling home from a Christmas visit in New Orleans. She is currently writing a second novel while residing in the charming town of Alpharetta, Georgia. At home, her time is spent in the world of writing and reading. During leisure hours, she finds pleasure in the reality series Survivor, additionally immersing herself in thriller, mysteries, and suspenseful shows on Netflix. Her passion extends to music, running, and fulfilling her wanderlust through travel. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today Angie D. How are you doing, Angie?
I'm doing good, Peter. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing very fine, and it's such a pleasure to have you on the show today. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Angie, could you tell us about your book, Some Must Die? And I must say that you have such an absorbing and compelling title, which we are looking forward to discussing and expounding today. So, how does this book come about? What inspired you to write Some Must Die?
So, I didn't, as you said earlier, I wasn't really sure I could even write a whole book, but it happened a few years ago. I was coming home from a Christmas trip to New Orleans,
Mm.
and I was in the car. My partner was driving, and I just was on my iPhone doing notes. And I thought I'm going to try, and
Well,
so I wrote what was on my mind at that time, and then it seemed like it was a couple of weeks later.
yeah.
I was looking through my notes for a different note, and I saw this note, and I clicked on it, and I started reading it, and I literally at first didn't even know it was something I had, what I had written. Like I thought
Mm.
it was something maybe I had copied and pasted, and then I realized it was my story. And so I was
Oh.
like kind of shocked. I was like, "Oh shoot, I think I can do this." So, so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try, and if nothing else, at least I'll do it for me, right, and
Yeah.
satisfy my desire to get that out." And
That's amazing.
yeah, it's been almost 3 years in the works, but
Wow.
here you go. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, really. I love the sound of it, and even to know about how it came about sounds very intriguing. And now, Hangi, I also love to ask you, for readers who haven't read the book yet, and of course, without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what to expect picking up the book?
Um, I'm not really good at talking as much as I am at writing. So I wondered, would it be okay if I just gave you a couple of of the
Absolutely.
reviews?
Yeah,
Some of the reviews.
absolutely.
All right. One of the first reviews that I got it's called Thrilling, Dark, and Unpredictable.
Mm,
And it says that basically the author masterfully crafts a story that is both intensely personal and universally relatable, as Leslie
mm,
battles not just external forces, but also her internal demons. The narrative
wow.
is skillfully woven, maintaining a perfect balance between suspense and character development. The strength
Mm,
of the book lies in the ability to keep readers on the edge of their seats with dark atmospheric setting and a plot that twists and turns at every chapter. So that's one of them. So
wow.
basically, it's dark. It's a thriller, and it's really good. I hope you will read it so you can find out.
Yeah, that's amazing. And at this point, I'd love you to show the book to the camera just so we can see what it looks like. Someone's that a mystery. That's such an amazing book cover. Crime story of survivor. Wow.
Yeah,
I love
thank
that
you.
cover.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But my intro to the story is it's Enter the World of Leslie. She's basically a young girl who is thrust into the clutches of like an ominous storm in her life, and it kind of spirals out into like an abyss of uncertainty. And
Wow.
there's a single knock on her door that changes everything, and it
Wow.
sets a series of events in motion that will test her like courage and her resilience.
Wow.
Leslie will find herself entangled in a world of like fear, anger, darkness, and mystery. Her
Mm.
journey becomes a battle when she races to escape clutches of inescapable truth that her life will never be the same.
Wow.
And this is built around in a world. I'm sorry. This is built in a world of um, morality where it's blurred and darkness. There's new characters that emerge all through it, but the motives remain hidden with
Mm.
each passing moment, and the stakes grow, and the truth becomes an enigma. It's begging to be revealed.
Mm.
So as she grapples with her fears, it's all about making choices and the decisions that we have as humans in life. And
Yeah.
we're always faced with what's right and what's wrong, and we have to make those decisions. Do we really know if that is right or is that wrong? So
Yeah.
that's really kind of the premise of it. It's a crime. It's a really good book. I think
Yeah.
you'll like it.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of crime thriller suspense. That's quite amazing to know. And now, Aggie, I've always been fascinated about how authors, especially novelists like yourself, craft long sentences and brings works together in a way that it eventually makes a great novel. These often leave me thinking about how exactly they got their ideas and inspiration. Now, as far as writing is concerned, I too would love to ask you, how do you get your inspiration and ideas? How do you come about them?
So inspiration and ideas just come from basically life. I remember one of the inspirations for this book was something that I saw a long time ago when I was young, and it
Wow.
was basically some kudzu was growing over all these trees, right?
Mm.
And I was thinking, oh my gosh, what's in there, and what could you could hide in there, you could do all kinds of things, and it just sat in my mind. And you just, as you go through life, you see things that you know catch you.
Mm. Yeah.
And when I sat down to write this book, I thought it was going to have something to do with something that it never came out to do. Like it changed completely. So, you have thoughts about writing, but then I've never wrote a book before. So,
Yeah.
I wrote, and as I wrote, I would have to try to figure out how to intermingle all the wording for it to come out to
Yeah.
where you or someone else would understand it, because I understood it all in my head, but coming out of in sentences, it's a big difference. you know.
Mm.
So for me, I just kept doing it. It took me 3 years. Come on.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it took me a long time to figure out how to make it cohesive.
Amazing, really. I love listening to your inspiration and how you got your ideas. That's quite lovely to know. And now I'm also curious to know if you experienced any challenges in the process of writing the book. If there is any, could you share with us what challenge it is and how you ultimately overcame it? Also, how do you handle criticism as a writer?
Experience challenges. Challenges were just learning, and I've never written. I mean, I grew up as a kid and I loved writing reports in school, and I loved history, and I loved
Wow.
reading. But and when I was in my teens and 20s, I wrote poetry and things like
Mm.
that. But I never sat down and seriously, tried to put what was going on in my head on paper. And that was the biggest challenge, was sitting down and actually getting it out on paper. I keep looking for the criticism, right? And I won't always want to know what they think about it, whether it's good, bad, ugly. The criticism, I think, for me is important. I think I need that. And, I'm getting a lot of good reviews right now. So I'm thankful for that as well. But I took
Wow.
a lot of criticism with editing and with
Yeah.
my development of the story. I would have people read it, and it wasn't that hard to take criticism. I mean, in reality, I'd never written anything, so it could be very bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't really know for sure that other people would see it the way I see it. So,
Mm.
I'm ready for criticism if it's there. So, does
Wow,
that make
that's
sense?
amazing. I love the sound of it and how you handle it. Now, apart from Some Must Die, do you have any other works you've authored or maybe currently working on?
Yes, I'm working on another book right now. I
Wow.
don't have any previous works. I wrote some poetry, like I said, when I was young, and that's about it. I never published, so there you go.
That's amazing. And now, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Also, are there any challenges you've encountered ever since it got published?
Um, so self-publishing is really hard when you've never done it before,
Mm,
and it was difficult. It was difficult finding the right people. It was difficult with the whole printing and publishing process, but nothing that couldn't be handled or figured out. As far as any challenges, just finding the right people, to help
yeah,
me along the way, and getting the right people in my life to make sure that I got to the right places with it. So
yeah. That's lovely. That's very lovely to know. I love your answers to this question. They're quite educative to me, really.
I don't
Yeah.
see that. You've written a lot of works yourself, so thanks. I appreciate it. It was hard. It was definitely hard.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. I know.
But it was so funny though, because sometimes, I was writing something that I had in my head, and I would think that I was writing specifically a direction,
Yeah.
and I would get really caught up in it. And next thing I know, I'm like, holy crap, where did this come from?
I'd just love to ask you, as a published author, what sort of
Mhm.
advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book? What would you advise people in this category?
For publishing, I would just keep pushing through it, keep writing and make sure that you don't give up on it, because it's really rewarding when you're finally done.
Yeah.
Extremely rewarding, even if it's just for yourself. It's
Yeah.
extremely rewarding. And as far as the publishing goes, it's just like any other thing that you learn in life. When you're first doing it, you don't know what the heck you're doing, right? So, you just push through it, man, until you figure it out.
Yeah. That's true. Now, is there anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your book that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
The book is about the lives of several different characters. There's like
Mm,
three main characters, and I have a picture of them all in my head, and I've put that on some different format is through Book Funnel. Have you ever heard of that?
yeah.
Book Funnel. Um, and basically, it's there's a landing page, but if you go to that landing page in BookHip, there
Mm,
is stories about the characters in that book funnel that you will get through email that are not in the book, but it's about the
mm,
characters and things outside of the characters.
wow.
Sorry about that. Peter, I love that I've been able to accomplish this goal that I have, and now I've got a fever for it. Like, I
Mm,
really love it, and I'm so thankful that I've gotten to that place, right?
yeah.
So I'm very happy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing too. I love that. Now, in case we have some viewers who are watching this interview and would like to get a copy of your book, what platform are they available on for purchase?
It's on Amazon Books, and all you have to do is put in Some Must Die, and you can put in Angie behind it just to pull it up quicker. It's also in any of the bookstores. It's on Ingram Spark, so it goes to all the
Wow.
bookstores. all the platforms that are out there, at least in the US. I'm not really sure about the platforms where you are. Are you in the US or
Yeah,
you
we have
are?
Amazon everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's out there where you can get it pretty much anywhere if you just look for it or ask
Great.
for it, right?
Great.
It may not be on the
Yeah.
shelf. It's only 3 weeks old, so it may not be on the shelf yet, but you can order it.
Yeah. And I left a link. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I left
Go
a
ahead.
link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Angie's books directly on Amazon. So thank you so much, Angie, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
Thank you, Peter. You've been awesome. I appreciate it. I'm really nervous because I've never done this before. So thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you on the show.